Getting a win in duos isn't easy because lots of people assume that duos plays very differently to solos, when in reality, duos is basically solos with an extra player. And that's why it's one of the most challenging modes in Warzone, but it's also one of the most played modes in Warzone because it's super easy just to grab another friend and say, hey, let's just play some duos. So today I wanted to break down some duos gameplay from me and Jaff. Now naturally, me and Jaff are highly sweaty players who stream this every single day, but it isn't the caliber of the gameplay that you're going to witness, it's more about the methods of the gameplay and the things that we're hoping to achieve by how we approach them. And I'm going to talk about the things that lots of duos tend to get wrong as well. So despite the fact that we are Giga Sweats, and I truly do accept that and apologize in advance, this should be super helpful for anybody watching. So if you enjoy this, please do drop a like, consider subscribing, and let me know what else you would like to see as well in the comment section down below. This first example of a duos pinch is a really great attacking example in duos. Now, in any given duos dynamic, you should always be looking to play off angles from your teammate. And what that means is that one of you should be looking to play the obvious angle, the straight on attack if you will, and the other should be looking to assist from a different location. You're looking to divide any duo you attack by making them split their attention. And when they split their attention, things get messy really quickly. And this is a really good example of that. Now, the only exception to the rule is if you're playing a small building, and you can see where my cursor is here. There are some examples of some smaller buildings that you can see in frame. This one over here, the compound at the back, and this building off to the left, where playing directly on top of each other is naturally beneficial because you are attacking a small space and brute force is the way to go with tacticals and lethals. But in a larger gunfight or in a gunfight with lots of cover, playing off angles is really important, and you're going to see it in this clip here. I'm going to shoot through the top of the building and then the side, splitting their attention. And because these duos don't end up communicating, we get really easy cleanup kills on them. You're going to see really quickly here as I go through the top, Jaff starts engaging down low nice and early. So their attention shifts back to Jaff, and because of that, I get this window of opportunity. End up cleaning up this guy really easily. He mistakenly goes for a res when he probably should have accepted that the gunfight was over. I catch him with some lethal grenades, we get the double down, and it's a nice easy sweep. Now, split attention is a really important thing in duos. You're going to see very easily here how this unfolds. Jaff ends up taking the gunfight down low early on, which you can see right here where my cursor is, and you can see them lighting up like a Christmas tree, and you can hear the audio. And because of that, this guy hasn't even looked at me. He's looking to rotate down to his teammate, which gives me the opportunity to not only 3-play him, but also clean up the guy whose focus is entirely on Jaff from before. So this is a really great example of a pincer movement. Now, if we look at the flip side of that, the inverse, what this duo does incredibly wrong is they've created a huge amount of distance between each other. Now, I know it's ironic because I'm talking about pincer movements and playing people from different angles, and that's a really good thing to do. But when you've lost the initiative in a gunfight, playing together is really key. Now, this might not look like a huge amount of distance between him and his teammate. He's only up a stairwell. But that stairwell is enough distance in terms of the time it would take that player to run up the stairwell that it's a huge gap in gameplay. It's a big gap to be exploited, and it's not enough time for the other to help the other. And that's why these guys go wrong, and that's why we get this huge cleanup kill, because he doesn't have the time to help him, he doesn't have the time to 3-play, they don't communicate me dropping in, and it becomes a very clean sweep. This next clip is a really good example of another fatal flaw I see in Warzone duos, and it's duos getting too overzealous in a 2v1 scenario. Now, Jaff is dead, and these two opponents who are on this hillside and on this building have seen me drop into the location. They know I'm here, and they press me very aggressively. It's worth remembering that in a 2v1 example or a 1v2 example, you are only one death away from it being a 1v1. And chances are in that scenario, the odds are pretty much 50-50 unless your initial duo was able to do enough damage. And it's a mistake I see time and time again. You need to bear in mind when you're playing a duo's experience that you're effectively playing solos plus. Every gunfight is crucial, every gunfight matters, and just because there is two of you doesn't mean you can overwhelm someone. Now, you're going to see them really try and press me down and rush in because they think they've got the major advantage, and it's very easy to capitalize on that. Now, you're going to see bad gameplay from a duo in the sense that these guys are making the mistake of being too overzealous, and you're going to see good gameplay from me as a solo in a duo at the moment because I just hold my ground. I hold an angle, I let them make the mistake, I let them be aggressive and capitalize off that flip. So this is a really good example of duos being too overzealous that you should definitely never ever do in a duos experience, and how you can punish duos for doing it. Now, I just want to double back on this clip ever so slightly, and I've been talking about punishing duos for being too aggressive. This is a really great way to outplay a duo that I think is worth touching on, and something that's a really advanced level strategy in duos. I actually double back to the person that's downed, and I do this very deliberately because duos often panic about being thirsted, and they often panic about losing their duo. And the second I run past this Snoop Dogg, naturally he's calling out my location, he's live pinging me, but it forces the other guy to play exactly into the room where I'm expecting him to be and pick up another freebie. This next clip is a really good example of how you can mess up a gunfight in a duo situation really easily by not playing together. Now, I end up challenging this opponent at the bottom of the building, but there's enough distance between me and Jaff, who's on an elevated position, as you can see clearly above me, that he can't get down in time to trade out my death, even though I get some damage on the opponent. And not playing kill trades is a really easy way to lose a duo's gunfight and get knocked out of the game. Now, thankfully, we're saved by Jaff's quick thinking. Not only is he able to end up taking out this opponent, but the big thing you'll see him do is play for the collateral. He buys me back into the game to make sure that he's got an insurance policy before he decides to take the fight, which is another really advanced level strategy. He's not just looking to take this guy on and see who wins. He's looking to try and get someone back in before making this risky decision. You're going to see Jaff even tries to play the trade afterwards and ends up missing it because there's just too much of a time gap between us and a distance gap. Now, naturally it helps having really solid teammates like Jaff, but this is a really good example of a team who played a pinch on me, because I do end up being pinched from behind by both people at the same time, get finished off by the other dude, who end up losing the advantage in the long run. So you can see that initial pinch comes in. There's a really good job by these guys to clean me up. They even expect the third party, which is to be expected. Jaff ends up getting the kill. But you just see this is really solid gameplay from these guys. We make an error by not being close enough. They get a nice pinch on us and get a cleanup. We're fortunate to win this gunfight because Jaff has a portable buy. Now, naturally, he did manage to get one of the players dealt with early on, so that was good for us. There were flares in the area as well. But we end up winning this because of Jaff's 1v1 abilities, not because of our good dynamic as a duo. When you recognize that solos and duos play very similarly, you'll end up realizing that it's much easier to read the game. Now, yes, I did include this clip because it was, generally speaking, a pretty nice snipe. But it's worth remembering, solos and duos are the same thing with an extra increase of confidence because there's another teammate. This guy doesn't recognize he's on UAV, he doesn't recognize he's in an attractive location like a buy station, which are the natural things you would pay attention to if you're in a solos experience. But because he's brought his teammate back, he thinks everything's fine, he'll be okay, and he can play more casually. That is not how duos works. Duos is the same as solos. There are loads of people spread out across the map. People are hunting you on any given instance, and the second you make a bit of noise or make your position known or don't pay attention to a UAV, you're going to be punished for it. And this is a really good example of that. For the end of this gameplay, I've decided to let the comms play out between me and Jaff. I want you guys to see what we're talking about, what we're thinking about, and I want you to notice and pay attention to one specific thing. Me and Jaff are looking to lock up anchor locations for each other. You're going to see it happen quite frequently. I'm going to take a position, he's going to take a position, and we're going to play off of each other. He'll make a push, I'll hold his angle, and then we play off of each other. Now, generally speaking, like I was saying with those pincer maneuvers and those pinches earlier, the best way to win in a duos dynamic is to split people's focus and attention. You're going to see a huge amount of that in this final segment, and I'm going to leave you with the comms. And if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, drop a subscribe, and let me know what you want to see more of in the comments section below. I've made it into this compound, by the way. I made it into the compound. Do you want to push across?
I kind of want to get these kids next to me there.
You still have squad mates outside the safe zone.
Bro, who's that? Give it a rest, man. Look at me.
Enemy buy station deployed. Dropping in. Gas is closing in. Relocating the safe zone.
That Snoop Dogg's just slid out of being murdered, by the way. Your firing squad at the minute, Jeff. Why did he not just go prone on the roof?
I'll push up.
Under you. Both. Whoa, 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 whoa.
So come.
Oh, zone spawned to them. Long day. Outside left. What are you doing, you silly sausage?
Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby.
That was
Let's
a crazy choke.